Everybody, it's your boy Chaz Pearson, and this is the Outlet Forum with my esteemed co-host Chris Camello. What up, Chris?
Late night hoops, brother. What could be
Late
better?
late night. That's what we do. Get it in around here. Another week, another great show. Outlet Forum coming to you live, talking all things NBA with the playoffs. We got injuries. We got triple doubles being averaged. We got Giannis's future on the line. We got 2-0 series leads with half the series that's gone on in the playoffs so far. I mean, we're getting it all so far, Chris. I think this is one of the most exciting round ones that we've seen in quite some time. And I'm just glad that playoff time is here, especially in the NBA. You got LA Kings about to take a 2-0 lead. Dodgers can't win a game. This is the time where it's all happening in the sports world. October, I think, is a little bit better of a time, but also think this time of year, in late April, with all the sports that we got, is just it's just a fun time, man. Um,
Yeah, no,
what it,
it definitely is. Yeah, no, I just think these series have been very interesting right now. We've seen the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs. I mean, this is the playoffs. We've seen some physicality, and I love it, to be quite honest. I think all of these series have been as good as advertised right now, Chaz. So yeah, no, I mean we got a lot to get into right now. As we know, the fourth quarter is going on between the Rockets and the Warriors. And we shall see if that series ends up being even out at 1-1 or if the Warriors have an amazing comeback in them. We're going to find all that out right now. So, but yeah, no, it's been a good start to the playoffs. So, I like it.
well,
What has been the biggest surprise for you so far through these first 4 or 5 days?
um, it's got to be OKC waxing the Memphis Grizzlies the way that they did. I didn't see any team getting beat by 50 plus points in any game in this playoffs. You could have asked me if the Chicago Bulls would have gotten waxed by the Heat or the Atlanta Hawks in the playing game, or even the Mavericks or the Kings before they got eliminated. I would have never expected any team to get beat by 50 plus points. And then OKC turns around and doubles it up with I think it was a 19-point win last night, coming off that 51-point win. So that's been the surprise of the playoffs so far for me. We'll get into the Rockets as soon as that game ends shortly, but we got to start off with the Lake Show, Chris. They are absolutely balling right now, and I don't care what anybody says. A win is a win is a win, especially is in the playoffs is a win because even though neither team scored 100 points, even though the Lakers gave up a pretty big run in the fourth quarter and did not finish the game well, they started the game well with a 19-point lead. Luka Doncic with over 16. I think he had 22 points in the first half of the game. LeBron James getting it going late with 21 points, had to steal in the play of the game really to push that lead or extend that lead that they had in the fourth quarter. Chris, what did you make of the win, and how do you see this series going? Because the last thing we would have thought was the Timberwolves come into crypto.com arena and absolutely punch the Lakers in the mouth the way that they did, and they had no regard for fans, other players. Anthony Edwards telling fans my dick is bigger than yours and getting fined 50K for it. If you didn't know that, he did do that on Saturday in game one, by the way. Chris, what did you make of the win, and what do you make of the series, bro?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big response by the Lakers the other night. First of all, Saturday, you got to give credit where it's due, man. You got to give credit where it's due. Minnesota came out firing on all cylinders. Everyone was just on fire. Nazi, Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, Jaden McDaniels. Everybody stepped up and had a big game. So I'm not sure what happened in that game, but to be quite honest, Minnesota was just in the zone. They came out, they were more physical. They recovered from a slow start in the first quarter, and it just felt like from the second quarter on, all the way through the fourth quarter, they just dominated that game. And the Lakers now all of a sudden was like, okay, how do we respond here? And that there was some concern because I think we all thought, Lakers in 5, it's been the running theme, but we forget. And I said this coming in, Minnesota is a top 5 defense. They are a top 10 3-point shooting team. Anthony Edwards hit the most threes in the NBA this season. This is a team that can play, and they only finished 1 game behind the Lakers. So let's not act like they're your prototypical 6 seed. They got off to a slow start this year, but they ended the year on a high note. So watching what we did on Tuesday night with the Lakers setting a tone early, establishing a very physical defense, that's what got them over the edge. Luka Doncic, 2 games in a row, he's been phenomenal. Came up 1 assist short of a triple-double. He just has Minnesota's number. LeBron and Austin Reeves have been a
Yeah.
little bit slower out of the gate. You and I conflicted on the different reasons on why that is, but both of those guys did enough to help them win yesterday. I thought Hachimura was solid. Jackson Hayes has been a complete liability. Finney Smith is out
Yes.
there doing what he can do. But the Lakers, for now, were able to salvage some home court. And now the series shifts to Minnesota. And the question is, can they play that level of defense on the road? And what's it going to take to get their offensive rhythm going? Because LeBron and Austin Reeves have not been what we thought that they were going to be to start this series.
No, no, they haven't been. But that's the beauty of it. The series is tied. The Lakers are going on the road. They haven't been great on the road, but I think this will galvanize them and get them to lock in on the game plan a little bit more. It's easier to do that, I think, when you're not sleeping in your own bed and when you're away and have a big playoff game because you have the opposing crowd and you have nothing but your teammates around you. So I think the Lakers will settle in. I do expect them to win the game on Friday. The Sunday game is the one that I think is going to be the biggest game of the series because that's
Yeah.
what's going to tell you if the Lakers can really get a stranglehold on it, or the Wolves for that matter. But I think it'll more so be the Lakers and the Wolves that'll take a 3-1 lead more than likely. But I see this series going 6 or 7 either way. My pick originally was Lakers in 6, so I'm going to stick with it. It's been back and forth so far already. Even though the Timberwolves won that game, there was some momentum that the Lakers had late in the game, but they just gave it away after they let Nas Reed and I think it was Jaden McDaniels just
Yeah.
absolutely crush in 3-pointers. I think I tweeted out that they were 7 of 9 between McDaniels and Julius Randle, and just those 2 guys shooting threes alone. So
I mean, they were
that
wide open. The Lakers were overreacting to Anthony Edwards, and Edwards was making the right basketball play. Jeff Van Gundy used to say, if it's single coverage, go one-on-one. If they double team you, kick it out to the open shooters, and that's exactly what they did. So they set the tone in that game. But then Chaz, on the other end of the spectrum, in game 2, neither of these teams could throw the ball in the ocean from a boat. Like neither of them could knock down shots. So, Minnesota fought back. They stayed in the game. The Lakers defense, though, was what really got them through. I thought their offense kind of helped set a tone, but it was their defense that actually set it through. I did not like how they finished off that fourth quarter, but I just think as the game wore on, because they were playing so hard on the defensive end, and shout out to JJ Redick, really good adjustments, calling them out in the third quarter. When he called that timeout, he's like, what the F are you guys doing? I love that. That is the kind of that is playoff intensity right there that you not only want to see from your players, you want to see that from your coaches as well. And I just thought that's what really got them through. Now, Julius Randle did have a big game, 25 points. And here's the thing. You're going to have to pick your poison on some of that. If Randle goes off for 25, make sure McDaniels and Reed are not also having big games, right? If you're in this position where you have to pick your poison, I'm okay with letting Julius Randle go off, but you just can't let 3 or 4 of those guys go off like they did in game 1. I have a question though about LeBron. Is it the groin? Is it Luka not establishing, or not allowing other guys to establish a rhythm early on by going one-on-one in that, Rudy Gobert switch? Is it him having to defend Julius Randle, and maybe that's wearing him down? Why have we not seen LeBron James or even Austin Reeves, for that matter, get out to a great start offensively, in your
I'll
opinion?
take door number 2 for 500, Bob. That would be rhythm or lack thereof, because when you have somebody like Luka that's dominating the ball as much as he is, when you have one-on-ones. I mean, I like the game two flow that JJ Redick came up with. He was able to get Luca to, high extended elbow, free throw line extended left or right side, and then working the offense from there, one-on-one ISO, put him on an island from there. I did like that change or adjustment that he did, but
Right.
I just think that is the reason why Austin Reeves and LeBron James just do not have a rhythm, because Luca is just dominating the first quarter, and I'm loving it because that's what's getting them off into a good lead. They were up, I believe, by double digits in both quarters, both first quarters of both games. So the fact that they weren't able to sustain those leads only for one of those games is a testament to the fact that they need to be able to get their best players into a rhythm. I think LeBron is saving a part of his energy, I think, partially. Um, in game one, I think he was more of it was a test out game, but man, they just came out and just got punched in the mouth. And everybody got a plan until you got punched in the mouth, and you got to come up with a new one. And the new one was play harder and execute better, which they did in game two. So I think it's more of a rhythm thing for Austin. He just missed I think he missed like four wide open threes in the first half of last night's game, and he just couldn't really get into a great rhythm from there. But Austin Reeves is going to come alive in game three or game four and hit some big shots to seal a very big close win for the Lakers, I think, in either games three, four, and or five.
And in all fairness, and I know I was a little bit harsh on LeBron, but LeBron, you got to make a shot that's like 3 feet out from the bucket. You can't. You've got to go up strong and finish off the glass. You got to try to draw a foul. He missed Chaez just in the fourth quarter alone 3 or 4 bunnies in the paint. Shots that he's normally. I mean, we're not asking him to go out and knock down 3 or 4 30-footers. We're asking him to finish around the paint, which is something he's been doing his whole career. Reeves, on the other hand, for me, Chaez, his second halves in both games have been good. That's the thing. The second halves have been good. It's just been, why is this guy only scoring 2 or 4 points through the first 24 minutes? And maybe you're right. Maybe it is a rhythm thing. Maybe it is, Reeves, we're seeing him switch out to a lot of these big guys. We're seeing him switch out onto Randall, onto Reed, onto Gobert, McDaniels.
Yeah,
And it's forcing
he
these
is getting
guys.
D'd up too, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, remember last week when I was previewing this series, I said, Reeves is going to cook, because if McDaniels is, and Ant-Man are going to be focusing on LeBron and Doncic, who the hell is going to guard Austin Reeves? But the team defense has been very good. And I want to give Minnesota a shout out, because they've also done a very good job running guys off the three-point line. Even the bigs have done a good job of that. Reed, Randall, and Rudy Gobert. So it's not going to be easy. Minnesota has shown that, they are up for the task. And let's not forget, guys, this team was in the conference finals last year. They've been in the playoffs the last 3 years. They have lost in the first round. They've lost in the conference finals, but they've been there. This is not an inexperienced squad like what we're seeing in Houston right now. This is a team that can play. So let's give Minnesota some respect. But at the same point in time, Lakers have to be better offensively. Chaez, 94 points and 95 points in the first 2 games. That's 90s basketball right there. I just don't know if that could sustain for these next 5 games or 4 games, however late
Yeah,
this goes. Yeah.
I think they just got to play defense. I think it's going to turn into a defensive series the longer it goes, more so. But as long as Luca can continue to do what he's doing and averaging pretty much a triple double almost. I mean, 34, 10, a double double, 5 assists. He can get his assists up. He'll probably average 8 before the series is over.
Well, he
I
only
think,
had one. He had one in game one. He had 9 yesterday, and he was finding the cutters. Guys were moving more without the basketball. He was much better. That was more of a Luka performance, a complete game that we saw in game 2 compared to game 1, even though in game 1 he did drop 37. So I hear what you're saying. Yeah, the 5 assists is up, but it's only been 2 games. It's a small sample size. So
yeah,
that's
we'll
what we'll
see.
base our stance on. Yeah.
I still got Lakers in 6. So, um, moving on around the Western Conference as well. Big game tonight with the Rockets. Looks like they're up 20 with a little less than 2 minutes to go. 109-89. They're going to even their series 1-1 with the Golden State Warriors. And the big story out of this game is
Yeah.
that Jimmy Butler leaves with a pretty drastic injury. I would say he fell harder than Steph did earlier in the regular season on his tailbone. And
Mm,
this play actually was friendly fire because, in my opinion, Draymond Green was very over aggressive in this game and pushed Amen Thompson up under the basket, which undercut Jimmy Butler on a rebound and sent Jimmy Butler literally flying on his butt. And
wow.
luckily, he didn't put his hands down first and break his wrist or his elbow or anything. But man, it just sucks to see Jimmy go down like this. What do you make of what's the
That
bigger
series.
story? Is it the injury or the fact that the Rockets were able to pick up a 20-point win in a huge game at home?
I don't think it's or. I think it's the fact that the Rockets were able to seize the momentum after the Jimmy Butler injury. So yeah, I mean, we figured the Warriors were going to come out and take advantage of an inexperienced squad, even though they're going into a hostile environment. But yeah, you lose a guy like Jimmy Butler, who has been really the heart and soul of this squad. I mean, I know Steph is has been tremendous, no question about it, but this team didn't really take off until Jimmy Butler got there. And I want to say, including game one, they are 24-7 with Jimmy Butler and Steph in the lineup at the same time. So Jimmy has been a major X factor, almost similar to what Luka has meant to the Lakers. I think it's been on almost that same level. Now, some people may say it's blasphemous, but I don't think it's far off either. So when you lose a guy 8 minutes into the game and he doesn't return, now there's a bit of a shell shock and sort of a, well, where do we kind of go from here? Because now you're not conditioned to make those adjustments. Now, if Jimmy had said, I can't play tonight, now Steve Kerr has a day to kind of figure out a strategy. How do we cope without Jimmy Butler? But 8 minutes into the game, and it's kind of just thrown at you. You saw the struggles and the Rockets, between seizing the opportunity of Jimmy being out and the urgency of trying to protect home court and get a split. I think you saw the Rockets really come out and show why they were the number 2 seed. Plus Jalen Green, 38 points. What did he have? He had like 12 in game one or something. He was awful.
Yeah,
So
very
yeah,
38 points tonight. Absolutely balled
incredible.
out.
But a much better effort all across the board. Brooks was better. Şengün was better. Van Vliet's still struggling a little bit, but with Fred Van Vliet, it's not about the scoring. Same with Dylan Brooks. These guys are going to provide defense and
Tar-
playmaking and toughness. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. Tari Eason was fantastic tonight as well. Amin Thompson, your guy Chaez, Amin Thompson, also played well, chipped in 11 points. So yeah, just a good complete performance by the Rockets. But the loss isn't just the game for the Warriors, Chaez. It's going to be about the status of Jimmy Butler going into game 3 when this series shifts back to Frisco. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I got the Rockets, man. I had the Rockets in this series in 7 because of the home court. And with Jimmy Butler out, I still think it's probably going to go 7. I give Steph the edge. He only had 20 points in this game tonight.
Yeah.
So I just think that ultimately it's going to come down to how much can Steph really shoulder the load? Can Jimmy Butler even get back on the floor in games 3, 4, and 5 to even be a decoy or anything
Yeah.
like that? Um, it really is just going to be very interesting to see how it shakes out. But ultimately, for the Warriors, the fact that Jonathan Kuminga is taking an injury like this for him to even get on the floor shows me that they just are not gelling the way with their rotation that they really need to in order to overcome some of their shortcomings or an injury like Jimmy Butler happening tonight as well. So
And that's why
I don't.
I'm really surprised this guy was on the team. Why he wasn't included in a Miami deal or another team taking him on. But you're right. This guy got what did he get? A DNP CD in game 1. I don't even know if he played, and if he did play, he didn't play meaningful minutes. This could be his opportunity at this point. If Jimmy has to miss multiple games in this series, the only way the Warriors are going to have a shot is if a guy like this steps up, of course, along with Moody and Draymond and Pajemski, GP2, Buddy Hield. A lot of those guys are going to have to step up. You're seeing Quentin Post play some more meaningful minutes. But I think you're right, Chaz. I think for that small forward, wing position, if Butler's going to be out, it's got to be Kuminga. He's the only one I think that could kind of give you somewhat of what Butler gives you. Not a lot, but somewhat.
Yeah. Somewhat. We'll see, man. I mean, these Western Conference playoffs, except for the OKC Memphis series, is been absolutely bananas. All of those series are tied 1-1 currently, and I'm really looking forward to some of these matchups this weekend. But getting over to the Eastern Conference really quick, Chris,
Yes, sir.
um, the best series I say that's happening in the East. It is a series where a team is up 2-0, but it's been, I think, the most competitive series. A lot of bad blood between these two teams
Mm.
with the Pacers and the Milwaukee Bucks. They're down. The Milwaukee Bucks are down 0-2, going back home luckily. What do you make of this game for the Milwaukee Bucks? Is it more important for them to win this game, not only for the series, but for Giannis's future, since the rumors are circulating around him? And what do you make of the results of this game? Who do you have winning game three?
Wow. Well, the series, I mean, look, Indiana protected their home court. They survived a late onslaught by Portis and Giannis combined. Shout out to Bobby Portis. Good to see him back out there. That was a horrible suspension he had to go through that late in the season. So it's good to see him back out there. It was great to see Dame back out there. I know he struggled. I mean, Dame had a blood clot on his calf. We all thought his season was over, and this guy, whatever he did, whatever his doctors did, whatever medication he was on, in addition to blood thinners, they got him back out on the court. And obviously, he wanted to be out there. He wanted to try to, spoil a game two for Tyrese Halliburton. These are two teams, like you said, that do not like each other. Second year in a row, they've faced off in the playoffs. They've seen each other in the play-in tournament, or not the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament, whatever it's called, the NBA Cup now. So yeah, these are two teams that really get after each other. Milwaukee's been the establishment, but here comes the tough and feisty and physical and athletic Indiana Pacers, who like to do this a lot, Chaz. They like to run their traps. But
They
yes,
do
this
talk a
game.
lot.
So Milwaukee came up short. Dame wasn't super sharp. We figured that would happen. The guy hadn't been on the court for over a month, but he was out there giving his team whatever he had. And now that he's kind of had a game to shake off the rust, hopefully he'll look better in game three. They'll have the home court advantage. You're right. This is a must win. We all know what the history is in the NBA playoffs where you go down 0-3. You
Yep.
usually lose. There's a very, very small percentage you even force a game seven, but most of the time you'll be out in 4 or 5 games easily. So this is a must win. And I think the Bucks are going to take it. And I think Giannis has given it everything he's got. These first 2 games, Chaz, he has been dominant. 34 in game 1, 36 in game 2. He's rebounding. He's collecting. He's I'm sorry. He's dishing. He's getting assists. He's setting up his teammates. But somebody else is gonna have to step up. Hopefully it's Dame. But Bobby Portis was really good. You've got Kuzma in there. But this is a must-win for Milwaukee. And because you're right, I think the future of Giannis in Milwaukee could very well ride on whether or not they get bounced in this series. Which, can I be honest? I think it's going to happen anyway. I
You
don't think
think
they're going to win
so?
the series. I don't think they're going to come back and win 4 of the next 5.
I
Absolutely
don't
not.
think that
Not without
I
home
don't
court.
I don't think they're going to win the series, but I do think they can make it very interesting in 6 or 7 games
Sure.
because the Pacers are lackadaisical. They will leave the back door open for you to just step right on in. But I think it's just more so about how they go out because I do think that Giannis is going to entertain going elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You've had 2 years with Dame now. Neither of them worked out. I don't know if he thinks that he can win with Doc Rivers at the helm because that was a very reactionary move because they hired the wrong coach. I think it was Charles Lee,
No. They hired Adrian Griffin.
Adrian Griffin. I sorry, black
Mm-hmm.
coaches got it mixed up. But I just think that ultimately for Giannis, this has more ramifications on the future of the Bucks franchise this next game than just hey, we got to win the series. Like this has really big implications. So, man,
Sure. Yeah.
LA Kings are killing it right now. They're up 6-2 on
Gosh,
Edmonton in the
yeah.
third
Hey,
period.
go Kings, go,
Go
go Kings,
Kings,
go,
go.
go Kings, go. Yeah, no, they've been good, man. What is it? 11 goals now or 12 goals in the first 2 games? I mean, you talk
Man,
about home cooking. Question is, can they bring that act up to Edmonton? But yeah, look, the Bucks have been disappointing since they won the championship, and it's always been centered around injuries. Go back to 2022, right? Who do they lose? They lost Chris Middleton in that second round series against Boston. They lose to Boston. Boston ends up going to the finals. 2023, bounced in the first round by the Miami Heat. Who got hurt? I think it was Middleton again, and I think Giannis got hurt too in that series. Last year, no Dame Lillard, and then no Giannis. So all of their situations in the playoffs in these early exits, whether it be in the first round or the second round, has always been centered around injuries. And the thing is, I wasn't crazy about the Kuzma trade. I thought it was sort of a
You weren't.
no.
That's facts.
Yeah, I understand why they did it. Chris Middleton's ankles, I don't know how well he's going to hold up. Kuzma, a little bit younger, a little bit more championship experience, just sort of some fresh blood in there, right? There's something wrong with this team in addition to the injuries that's keeping them from going over the hump. And the thing is with Indiana, and you said this going into the series, they have the size, the athleticism, the depth, and most importantly, the confidence that they could beat not just Milwaukee, they could beat anybody on any given night. So that is what you're messing with now, because Indiana is just the beginning. Look at what Detroit's doing. Look at Orlando. Milwaukee's window is starting to close, and I think that's going to be it when Milwaukee is eliminated, because I don't think they're going to win this series. They'll be out in 6, maybe 7. That's the one thing Giannis is really going to have to center his mind around is, do I believe that this group and this organization is going to be able to compete with these other squads moving forward? And I didn't even mention Boston or Cleveland. So that's where Milwaukee is at right now, and that's what makes this future so murky about Giannis and the Bucks in the coming years.
I'm curious to know how much time Dame Lillard has on his contract. I wonder if he can play for another franchise other than Milwaukee. Because even though he asked out of Portland, I don't think that the fit was right in Milwaukee, and I do think that he might be better served elsewhere. But yeah, he's got one more year. He's got one more year, and then he's got an option. Then he's unrestricted at 37 years old, which he could be very, very effective, like Steph is at 37.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how this injury affects Dame moving forward.
And I love Dame. Dame's
we
awesome.
all do.
Yeah, top 75 player all time, one of the most explosive point guards of all time. I love the fact that he was getting in Halliburton's face and really kind of squaring him up. I think Halliburton runs his mouth a little too much. And, Dame is an accomplished player. Tyrese, you haven't really done what this guy has done. Granted, he hasn't won a championship either, but still just running the trap. But it was great to see him out there in game 2. And if he can kind of catch lightning in a bottle, Chaz, that's what could turn the series. But they got to win the next 2. If they split in Milwaukee, they're done.
Man, $54 million for Dame next year. And by the way, Tyrese Halliburton was voted most overrated by his peers in a recent straw poll, if you may have it. So I don't know what that means per se, but they just may not think he's as good. May not think he's as good as how he comes off. So we'll see if he can let his play do the talking in game 3 as well. Getting over now to the final topic of the night. Quick question, Chris. just straight up. I mean, there have been some pretty impressive performances, one by OKC by 51 points. The Pacers game 1 win over Milwaukee. The Celtics closing out the Orlando Magic at home, even without Jason Tatum, and the Cavs going on a 21 point run in game 1 over the Heat, and they closed out game 2 by double digits as well. Which of these leads between these 4 teams is the most impressive so far?
It's a good question, because Cavs were tested tonight. Miami shot, the Heat are going to make you work for everything. And actually, the first 2 games, the Heat have been tested. The Cavs have been tested by the Heat, and they've answered the call. Boston won a game tonight without Jason Tatum, their best player. And obviously, you could say, well, Boston's got all this depth. Yeah, but Jaylen Brown had to take an injection into his knee before the playoffs started. Porzingis hasn't exactly been around much during last year's playoff run because of the issues he was dealing with his knee and whatnot. And that's also kind of an older roster. But I got to go with OKC. They have handled business. 51-point win in game one over Memphis, who
Yeah.
I think we all thought coming into that series, like, oh, I don't know, Memphis could, at the very least, challenge them a little bit, the way we've seen with Orlando and Miami and even the Bucks challenging the Pacers. But they have dominated out of 8 quarters. I want to say they've dominated at least 7 of them. At least 7 of them, maybe with the exception of that third quarter run that Memphis went on in game 2. And then quickly after that, they dominated. OKC has been sort of underappreciated for the team with the best record in the NBA this year, the number 1 overall seed. They will have home court throughout. They'll likely have the MVP on their squad in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Everybody has still disrespected them. So in these 2 games, say what you will about Memphis, that's still a healthy team. That's still a good team, right? Granted, they fired their coach and Ja with all the issues, the grenade tossing and all of that. I know you've spoken ad nauseum about it, so I get it. But still, that's still a good team. That I agree. But I'm saying that's still a good team. And the fact that not only you've won these games, but you've dominated. I mean, that was an NBA playoff record in game 1. You can't help but just say, wow, OKC, they might just be the real deal. So we'll see. Which team outside of OKC do you think has been most impressive with the 2-0 series lead?
I've been very impressed with the Pacers. Given the rivalry, the Celtics and the Cavaliers, I'm not impressed with.
They're doing what they got to
The
do. Yeah.
Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat are basically playing teams who just got lucky to be a few games better than the Hawks or the
Chicago.
Mavericks or yeah, I'm sorry, the Hawks or Chicago. The Cavs and the Celtics are going to meet in the Eastern Conference Finals. There's no Philly. There's no there's no other. The Knicks aren't great. Haven't been able to beat a good team at all really this year like that. So the Cavs and the Celtics are on a collision course for the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm already booking that. I am interested to see how the Pacers and the Celtics. I'm sorry, the Pacers and the Cavs face off in round 2.
Yeah.
Am interested to see that, but I'm going to talk. I'm going to take this topic to talk about a team that's not on this list just for a second. Um, because they were one play away from having a 2-0 lead, and
Clippers.
that's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah.
And they have had the most impressive start to me to go on the road the way that they did
Mm-hmm.
against the Nuggets, who are still have the best player in the league, some would say, Nikola Jokic. And the fact that he was able to, Kawhi Leonard, play these games, look good, have the game that he did in game 2 to give the Clippers the win. They should have had it in overtime in game 1. There should have actually been an overtime in game 1. They should have just won the game. And it's been an absolute slugfest of a series so far. So I think the Clippers are one play away from having that 2-0 lead. I've been most impressed with their play more than anybody these playoffs, even though the Nuggets are taking it right back to them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the Pacers have been solid. The Thunder are great with their 51-point win, but the Clippers are playing the best basketball in the playoffs right now, to me, bar none.
Yeah, I mean they let one get away. It's funny, both teams. I think it's right where it needs to be. You can make the argument Denver should probably be up 2-0. You can make the argument the Clippers could be up 2-0. So the fact that both teams went out of Denver with a split, and now the series shifts to the new Intuit Dome tomorrow night for Game 3. I think
That'll be good.
that's going to be a fun
That'll
game.
be good.
I mean, this has probably been the most exciting series out of all of them so far. I mean, we have seen a
Yeah,
lot of blowouts so far. Even the Lakers in Minnesota, that game was over by the fourth quarter in
it
game 1.
was.
So, but I think what you saw too, and this was crazy, Jokic lost the game for them in game 2. No one's talking about that. Nikola Jokic,
That
who I'm a big
three-pointer.
fan of. No, I'm talking
No,
about
that's
the
game
4 minute
2.
free. I'm talking about the
Yeah,
4 minute free throws. I'm
yeah.
talking about the turnovers. I'm talking about 2 ill-advised shots, including at the end. I'm talking about, even though he had a triple-double, he lost them the game. A lot of bonehead plays from the Joker, and I will give
Missing bunnies.
missing bunnies. I will give the Clippers defense some credit. Zubac and the Clippers team just as a whole have done a very good job making him uncomfortable and cutting off some of those passing lanes that he likes to go to. The safety valve that is Aaron Gordon. They're taking that away on the baseline. They're forcing tougher shots from the perimeter. They're closing out harder. And Kawhi Leonard, man, whew, he has looked sharp. That was a game in game 2 that was
Sharp on that
reminiscent of what
sharp.
we saw in 2019 with the Raptors. And I'll even go back to 2021 with the Clippers pre-injury before he went down in that Utah series. He was dominating the Dallas Mavericks and the Jazz in those playoffs up until that injury. And that might have been their best opportunity with that group to make it to the NBA Finals. So this is going to be a good series. I think everyone thinks the Clippers are going to probably end up winning in 6, maybe 7. I'm not ready to sleep on Denver yet. I think they've been a lot better in this series, but just bonehead plays, missed free throws, bad,
Coaching.
bad opportunity, bad execution at times. Yeah, I mean, David Adelman, this is what, his 5th game as a head coach for the Mavericks. For the Nuggets. You're going to compare him to a championship coach in Ty Lue, who is well respected across the board. It's not even close. However, what I will say about Denver is that you still have a championship battle-tested roster. And with that, you always have a shot to win. So I'm really intrigued to see who's going to come out and set the tone. Will we see a blowout, or is game 3 going to look like what we saw in the first 2 games?
Oh no. I think the Clippers should handle the Nuggets pretty easily for 2 reasons. Because the Nuggets defense isn't great, especially on the road, and because the Clippers are have all the momentum, and because their role players play better at home as well. And they're gonna really have for the first time a real home court advantage
I
in their
agree.
own building with the wall, because it's their first time with the new building. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that's tomorrow night.
That's
Or
going
is
to be
that
tomorrow
Friday?
night. No, game 3.
That's
Lakers,
tomorrow.
by the way, get ready for Christmas come early Friday night.
Man,
Dodgers versus Pirates. I posted this on my IG story.
Beans.
Paul Skeens versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Game 3, Lakers Wolves at the Target Center, and then Game 3 in Edmonton, Kings Oilers, and the Kings are about to go up 2-0 in that series. So Friday, man, I'm going to be on an assignment. I'm going to miss some of that, but hopefully I'll be able to catch the stuff that starts at 7 o'clock. I'll be covering Gar High School versus somebody for baseball.
And
High
I'll
school
be
baseball.
I'll be covering a fight for the zone. So what looks like we'll both be out in the field Friday night, but we got our phones and we'll be score watching. So go
Well, I'll
Lakers,
be out of
go
commission Friday
Dodgers.
afternoon.
Oh, Friday afternoon. Okay,
Yeah,
got you. Sure. Okay. Well, man, it's gonna be a good weekend. I'm really. By the time we talk next week, I- I'll guarantee you this: the OKC series will be over by next Wednesday.
probably. Yeah.
You'll have a couple teams eliminated, I think, in the Magic and or the Heat, and you'll have probably the Lakers, the Warriors, the Rockets, all going into Game 5, 6, and 7. So this weekend will be a really, really good weekend. So tap in for all the NBA games, and we got you guys covered next Wednesday. Great show,
But
Chris. What you got,
one more thing. Shout out Detroit Pistons. First win in the playoffs since 2008.
man?
They had
Last
they
time they won a playoff game was when we were graduating high school, Chris, and we're
Yep.
going on 30. I'm
No,
35 going on 36. So it's been quite some time for them.
definitely. So shout out to the Pistons getting a win in the Garden. Cade Cunningham, Tobias Harris, our old pal Dennis Schroeder, Paul Reed. A lot of guys stepped up and played well. And on the Knicks end, shout out to Jalen Brunson, who got Clutch Player of the Year, and Peyton Pritchard, who of the Boston Celtics got Sixth Man of the Year. More NBA awards going to be announced, and we'll be posting all of those up. Chaz, great stuff tonight, my friend, and more NBA playoffs, man. Every day it's always something new going on over here. So hopefully these series, especially now as they start to shift, we're going to see who's going to break out the brooms and who's going to get pushed back into the closet.
And I think one of those teams that step forward will be the Lakers. And based on the way they played tonight, I got the Rockets edging out the Warriors, like I said, in Game 7. So buckle
Let's
up.
go,
It'll
baby.
be a good weekend, and let's make sure to lock in. SGA for MVP as well, by the way, not
Absolutely.
Jokic.
Yeah, no, I just said that they probably had the MVP on their squad. I was really surprised Giannis was that third finalist, but I said it from the
I
beginning.
wasn't.
No, I said it from the beginning, but you never know sometimes. There's always that random name. I thought maybe Donovan Mitchell. Does he squeeze it out? Sometimes they award winning, Chaz. We all know that. People reward winning. So, not to not to quote Charlie Sheen, winning. I only have one speed. Go. Yeah.
And with that, we will close it out. Appreciate you guys tapping in with the outlet form. You guys know where to follow us at Chaz Pearson on X and Twitter, as well as Instagram. Chris at Chris _Camelo on X, and C Camelo1 on
Yes,
Instagram.
sir.
Chris, is that right?
On Instagram. And be sure to
That's it.
follow us at the Outlet Forum on IG, on X, and on YouTube. Appreciate it, man. Oh, RIP. The great Steve McMichael passed away due to a long battle with ALS, part of the 85 Bears, that 4-6 offense spearheaded by the great Buddy Ryan. If you haven't seen that 30 for 30 on ESPN,
Great.
the 85 Bears, man, he had some amazing quotes in there. So shout out to Mongo, shout out to his family. May he rest in peace, and thoughts and prayers are with the family of Steve McMichael. I just want to throw that in there.
Good call. Well, appreciate you guys tapping in with us. See you guys next week, and get ready for the playoffs this weekend. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.